and welcome back to Sports Coverage. In today's podcast, we will be speaking with Udita Dutta, the founder and director of Artsmith Concepts and Visions. Artsmith is one of the leading sports PR companies in our country. Let's find out from Udita why did she start the venture and how has the journey been so far. Hi Udita, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Akshita, for having me.
Udita, how did you get into the world of sports?
That's actually a very funny thing. You've probably heard about there's this very popular saying, which actually is so true in my life, is that every door that closed in my life actually became an opportunity for me. As far as sports is concerned, I come from Bengal, and Bengal is very passionate about sports. And I wanted to play sports. I used to go with my dad to Eden Gardens to watch those West Indian attacks, the Pakistani team, and our Indian greats, the Kapil Devs and the Sunil Gavaskars, the Test match. And I used to always think, can I ever be part of this world? So I was a badminton player, but I got an injury and it just closed all doors and dreams for me. And then what I thought was, if I can't be a player, let me become a journalist who covers sports. So, like I said, every brick that closed for me also did open up an opportunity. I became a journalist and then I covered sports, two Olympics, couple of World Cups. The Commonwealth Games in India was amazing. I mean, I think that was the beginning of Olympic movement in this country. And to a greater extent, why Artsmith and me, we are an entrepreneur today is because of that. Because I truly felt in 2010 that if when Commonwealth Games is happening in India and we are still trying to justify Olympic sports, something is majorly wrong in this country, being just a cricket nation. And there's something which needs to be done about it. I used to cover cricket predominantly, but I was dying to do Olympic sports, is why I started Artsmith. And as you know, we do extensively work in Olympic space because of that reason.
Udita, how was the switch like? Because the world of journalism and the world of PR, for a lot of people, they think that it's sort of similar, but they are poles apart, right? So, how was the switch like for you, and what were the challenges that you came across as a budding entrepreneur back then?
Oh no, they're indeed poles apart. And like I just said to you, again, opportunities from the closed door. When I was contemplating to switch, I was at peak of my career. It was in 2007. And I'd just come back from India's dismal performances in the West Indies in cricket. And I started talking to people, and I was like, can I get into PR? Because that's an automatic extension to what I was doing. So a lot of agencies then they said, you're a journalist. What are you going to do in PR? You don't know nothing about PR. So I was like, boss, if everybody says that, then technically that means I don't have a future in PR business. And I don't want to do journalism anymore because not because I was not liking it. I had a very personal reason when I quit because, I used to travel almost 300 days a year in 365 days because I was covering Indian cricket team. And I figured my dad had suddenly grown old and I had no idea when he actually became old, and I've lost that many years. So that was enough for me to think that, whatever happens, I'm going to quit this job and settle into something. Nobody knew entrepreneurship is going to be even more difficult. But that's when I think, and like when people shut the doors on me, I figured that, they don't understand what journalist brings into PR. So as much as it was a lot of learning, trust me, but it really helped being coming from a background of being a journalist and understanding the subject. That really helped me and my team and the agency as a whole because we understand PR in a lot more better way. What you need, if I don't understand that, I have a lot of work to do, right? And that's something we brought in. But of course, PR has lot of things, and one of the thing that one of my senior editor, when I told him, that I'm going to quit, he said, dude, you're a journalist. Ego comes as a package as a journalist, because you are so used to walking into a door and saying, oh, just talk to me. You don't request someone, people talk to you. That has to change. And trust me, that was a great tip from my boss because I actually took a plunge in 2011. So from 7 to 11, it took me that many years to unlearn and have that confidence. I come from a Bengali hardcore middle class service mindset. You are a doctor and an engineer, which none of it I was. So I was anyway the black sheep in the family. But my father actually didn't talk to me for a month. He said, business is not in our DNA. What are you doing? You have such a great job. You're quitting and you're starting something which no one knows is going to work or not. So, but I don't regret it. I mean, I'm very happy. Trust me, I've not for once ever thought that should I shut this and go back and become a journalist again. So I think it wasn't a bad decision. People and honestly, there have been a lot of journalists who have later come on our side of the world. So I think it wasn't that bad.
Adita, you said that there were other sports that you wanted to focus on. Even right now, Artsmith is focusing on a lot of different kinds of sports, including esports. How has the evolution been like? Because you've been in the industry for long enough to see the changes over the years. Of course, the federations or the brands that come to promote sports, they have different expectations. There is a real world out there that you also have to make them familiar with. Then there is the challenge of reaching out to the masses. So you've seen it all, and what have your views been on this?
No, I mean, see, the sports industry itself has evolved, right? I mean, there was a time, like I said, in 2010, it was a task to do Commonwealth Games. Of course, negative stories would always have its pie, but genuinely talking about sports was still, because I still remember when Abhinav Bindra actually won the gold in Beijing, we were having India Sri Lanka test match in Sri Lanka, and Ajanta Mendes had taken probably about 5 wickets around that time. It was equally important and probably more than a Bindra winning a gold medal at that point of time. And every journalist that went to that Olympic had to fight for their space. It was big, it was huge, but journalists have gone through that space, right? So that evolvement in the industry has happened. People today, if you look at most of the newspapers, there is a dedicated page for cricket, but you also have pages now for Olympic sports. The journey is not completely evolved right yet, but we've come a long way. However, when in 2019, I mean, I would rather say 2018, mid 2018, we were also contemplating, like, we're doing sports, we're doing Olympic sports, we're doing cricket. What is next for us? That was an internal conversation that was going on. And I remember, there was one of our colleague who said, why don't we do, I mean, I will not take that credit goes to my colleague, Ojes, who doesn't work with us anymore. But, he did mention that, why don't we look at esports? I remember my brother and my team members would, during the league time, would go and play PUBG at that point, middle of the night. And I was like, if there is so much craze inside my team, might as well look at it. But it was exactly then when we were studying, we were trying to figure things, is when COVID happened. And life just changed, and there was no sports. And suddenly we saw, we were exactly at that space and just about ready to roll out is when COVID happened and sports stopped. So it was just like, we were ready. I was ready. My team was ready. We had already spoken to a couple of people who were into the space, but they also didn't know how to take this forward. So we were in conversations, and then that boom happened. If you look at it today, it's a huge space. Now Asian Games is a reality, right? We all in 2019 dreamt, if ever India goes to play and esports becomes part of Asian Games, it will be huge. It is huge because now the dates have also been announced, teams have been announced, and we find this as a huge space. And I think from media perspective and from Latsi, esports community is very tight, very, very aware of things. What is needed now is to make it a mass product, and that, I think, Asian Games can make that difference and will make that difference. And I'm sure people will start, and you all will be, and you guys have been covering esports. I see those things very extensively on sports coverage. But as a mass unit, because the whole trouble that we faced is a lot of people don't even know whether it is a capital letter E or a small letter E, and sports, how is it to be written? It's as lame and as basic as that. But I guess things will change. The balls are already turning, and just a matter of time now.
Udita, being an entrepreneur in itself is a very tough journey. And as a woman in the world of sports, what were the challenges like, right from the journalism days to starting your own venture and to being here for so many years, how have you seen the industry change for women in sports?
No, I think when we started in sports, there were very few journalists. I think I can probably count five of us, five to six of us were there who were into sports and they were women. And we were like in the sea of men, this five women trying to just find our ways into it. There were so many times when there was not even a loo, because women loos were not even considered because women are not journalists. So they don't need a loo. So we had to be like, go in the office and then only relieve yourself. It was that kind of a time. But now I think even the mindset of people have changed. You see a lot of women in the other side in the sporting administrations as well. If you look at the IPL teams, there are certain key positions led by women. There are teams which have women physios. So I think that mindset has changed, but I think it's still not the first thing that you have in your mind. I think that's the space where we need to work upon. A lot also depends on us as women, because I think there is this certain sense of concept that men have is that, oh, inko kya pata hai? What do they understand about sports? I think that's where our intelligence, our research, our study do not go unprepared, because as women, see, sports is tough, right? But for women, it is equally more tough than the other guy because you will also be judged there. I'm not saying that you really need to think about being judged, but you need to be so well prepared that they will think twice next time before judging you. I think that depends on us, and something that I and few others we carried with us. And today, when I look at myself as an entrepreneur in the sports domain, I somehow feel, people have not looked down on me. I think I don't know whether it is because I had spent enough number of years in sports is why they look at me like that. But when I look at my other colleagues who are women and my counterparts, I think we understand people. I think one of our great qualities that we listen to people. That is why probably we don't face it. But yes, there are challenges. But a lot depends how you position yourself. If you go and say, okay, I'm the one who is struggling here, please help me. Nobody helps. And if they help, they will still ask something in return. So don't be that. You just present yourself as someone who can stand tall. And even if you don't know, doesn't matter. You can say, okay, I don't know. There is no shame in saying that. But what you take out of it is what matters.
Udita, right now, Artsmith is handling some of the biggest accounts in the world of sports. But I'm sure the initial journey would have not been this easy. Can you talk to us about some of the struggles and what was one of the happiest moment as an entrepreneur that you experienced?
I learned one thing when I quit my job was that I probably have more time, more, liberty. But entrepreneurship is very involved. Technically, when I started, I realized that, and RCP has never been a funded company. I've truly believed that if I want to, realize my vision, I cannot take someone else's money because then I have to kind of chase his dreams also. And that's where somewhere maybe, I'll have to compromise my dream. One of the reason why we've not funded ourselves from outside, we are a self-funded company. But I think entrepreneurship is different and difficult. Okay. I mean, from being a chaprasi to being writing your own copy to getting the coffee for yourself to sending an email, I've done it all. And no shame, because if I've done it, and honestly, you asked me before that what had you got to relearn when you came into PR. I think being an entrepreneur and doing everything all by myself helped me a lot, so that today, I know every department how it functions. I don't have an alien perspective to things because I've done that grind, and it's easier to understand problems that my colleagues may face, even a newcomer who comes, because I can relate to their problems. So I think that's an advantage also. But yes, realistically, there were two challenges, but no harm. And my happiest thing that I probably would say, see, getting clients, all of that is fine, but I think one of the very satisfying thing for me in my journey of 12 years plus now is that during COVID, I was clear that I will not sack anyone. So Artsmith has not sacked anyone, whether it's COVID or otherwise. And not a single employee in Artsmith saw a pay cut. Everybody got their pays on time, even for the 2 years that there was no sports, there was no business. But that's what one thing that I feel is that, if my employees are not happy, because see, when you do an entrepreneurial space, it's not about 300 people here, it's about people. It's not about the property. So if people are not happy, you don't have a space where it's going to work. So my whole sole objective always has been that if my people are happy, they are energetic, they understand and resonate the vision that I have. It's their company, it's our company, it's not my company. So that's the culture, and that makes me happy. I think that's one thing that has, really, really kept me going, that, I did not, and I took a pay cut, but I ensured everybody doesn't. No one did, and they, on the second year, I think we gave them a raise as well, even if it was minimum, but we did.
That's such a beautiful thing, Udita. You've created a safe space for them to flourish in. You spoke about the vision, and because of which Artsmith never really took funding from someone else. Can you speak more about the vision of Artsmith? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years, 15 years down the line?
See, we are India's only specific, we do not do anything else. If someone brings me anything in any other subject, they will get a no from us. So we are only specialized India's sports and esports agency. And that's the way I want to see Artsmith grow, as we already have touched with great clients with us. What for me in the next 10 years is important to me is that what value we bring. See, you can have probably 10 clients, then 100 clients, 1000 clients, but what value do you bring, and are you making difference to the lives of those clients and the lives of the people who are connected with it? I think that is what we want to do. Number of clients honestly doesn't matter to me. We've been working with badminton, for it's been 12 years now, because that was my first client and they're still with us, touchwood. What matters to me today is not that I have them for 10 years, but what value we created for badminton as a sport in this country. When I was then only one person and I went to meet the badminton federation guys, there was no Olympic medal, there was no Asian Games medal, there was no medal in this country except for I think one youth medal that Saina had. But then to now, badminton is one of the biggest sport after cricket, and it's the only league of badminton that doesn't have to pay to a newspaper like Times of India to get coverage. So that's the difference. What matters to me, that what I bring on table, what my team brings on table, and how do we make the sport grow as a value to the sport.
Ulta, can you talk to us about how are you managing it all? Because, like as an entrepreneur, you never get an off. Especially in the PR world, you always have to work 7 days a week you're working. The working hours are also very, often very odd. So how do you look after, the work-life balance, and how do you look after your mental health in such difficult times or, tough work situations?
No, it's a huge and it's a fantastic question, Akshita, because since COVID happened, people have been working from work from home concept. But honestly, we went virtual in 2016. My whole idea of going to virtual system in 2016, when people didn't even know, and a lot of them question like, "Oh, you don't have money. That are you only working from home because of that?" But what I saw is that I live in Delhi, okay, and it used to take me about 3.5 hours to travel to be in office alone. I mean, forget everything else. I have a car. Not my all employees have cars, and that's something what made me consider that if I want my employees to be 100% dedicated, I need to give them some values for them to optimize their output as well. And that's what made me give them this concept of work life balance. Stay at home or go anywhere, you party, you travel the world, just work, what your work is. And my team has been brilliant. I mean, it's been 2016 to 2023, we're still a virtual organization. We meet, we party, we work, we plan, but we prefer to be a virtual organization, because that has given the optimization of efforts have been way too much, and it helps. To be very honest, one thing that I tell my team is that you can't be at your best all 7 days. It's not possible. So just figure out your what your deadlines, your plans are. Make them in such a manner that in a week at least you are 3 days super productive. Rest of the 4 days, just figure it out, take it slow, do your stuff, so that you can have time for yourself. And one of the things that we in Artsmith have started is that we also have 2 additional days off in a month, which an employee is free to take anytime they want, along with the weekly offs, which is just to rejuvenate themselves. Yes, PR is very, very demanding. We do motorsports as well. Every Sunday is motorsports. So it's not easy, but I think that's where as a team it really helps. When someone is taking off, the other one fills up, including me. I'm on a holiday right now. I'm really grateful that I can take it, and the team has been doing fantastic. Don't have to really get into the nitty-gritties of the daily work. So it helps, I think, as a team. So I think it's important as a team. How do you look at it? Work-life balance, a lot of it has to do with the team as well, I think. And that's the culture of Artsmith. Everybody takes, there are sequence, and people just figure it out and take their due offs, extended holidays. One of my teammate is planning to go to the Everest, so that's been taken care of. So all that kind of things happen.
Was it that, I mean, spoken about, how you are looking after the team when it comes to all of this. But when was the first time you were able to take the leave, after starting Artsmith? Because, as an entrepreneur, like that's a personal question. I'm very interested in knowing that because till now, like we will be turning 3 and I've not been able to take an off where, I'm completely detached.
No, actually, I'm very, very grateful to my team. It was, I think, right after COVID, when the second COVID happened, my very close friend passed away. And it was a time when I think the World Championship of Boxing was going on, and a couple of more major events were going on. And my team was really kind, and they said, whatever number of days you need off. And it had affected me a lot, and I was very close to him. So, about 15, 20 days, I didn't know what they were doing, what was happening. And trust me, one thing that I learned from that incident was, as a leader, we also try and be a little picky on things, right? And this is something, I am a scorpion, so I have this very, very bad habit. I'm sure my team at times gets pissed off with me for that. But I think at times we need to just step back and give the other people that confidence to do things. And once they have that confidence, because you're there, right? You're not leaving them high and dry there. So, and they just do it because they're aware of the drill. It's just that it's about somebody learning how to ride a bicycle. You help, but suddenly you leave the help. He rides or she rides. So it's like that. So take your off. Trust me. If you don't, it will come to a point where you'll be so burnt out that even looking at figures will be jumbled up. Happened to me. And try and figure, even if it is half a day, doesn't need to be a full day. Take it.
That much I'm able to take, but like, looking for a week long off, hopefully sometime very soon. The last thing, one message for women out there who are looking to make a career in the world of sports.
Never stop dreaming. Everything is possible. Just don't bog down. There is everything that's possible. So just never stop dreaming. Go and pursue it. Look, you can fail. Doesn't matter. You can get up and try again. So just go for it. I think that's what has been my motto in life. And I still survive and I am there. So anybody can then.
Thank you so much, Udita, for speaking with us today, and good luck with Artsmith and all the other endeavors that you are looking out to pursue in life.
Thank you so much for having me and just listening to what I had to say, Akshita. And all the best to you guys. You guys are doing a fabulous job. You yourself has grown as a professional. I've seen that happening. That is a fabulous thing. And all the best to you guys. And more power to all of us. You as a woman champion of the sport. Just go for it. All the best with your endeavors as well.
Thank you.